Hi, my name is Samantha Wojciechowiczj. I'm a Canadian artist, and this is Her Table.
Now you see her.
You are magnificent!
Welcome to Her Table, the podcast that shines a spotlight on the badass women who are redefining the game. Join hosts Kate Foley and Megan Martinez as they unlock the secrets of success from the brightest female pioneers in the industry. Whether you're a young woman aspiring to break into the sports industry or a seasoned professional looking for fresh inspiration, come on and grab a seat at Her Table, where women's voices are amplified, dreams are realized, and the game is changed.
You must always have faith in yourself.
Seek out strong women to befriend, to learn from, to be inspired by.
Women need a seat at the table, and in some cases, they need to create their own table.
Welcome to another episode of Her Table. We are so excited to welcome in Samantha Wojciechowiczj, otherwise known as Sam Woj, but we will not be having any Woj bombs on the set today.
Not today. Maybe next time, but not today. She is a Canadian artist who has taken her obstacles in life from her disability and turned them into opportunities to inspire other people. Her artwork is beautiful, and it is the perfect intersection of art, entertainment, and sport.
She has a very unique approach to creating her artwork.
Joining us from Canada, let's get Sam at her table. Pull up a seat. Let's go.
Yep, the sports equipment is her paintbrush, and I can't wait to hear how she does it. So let's welcome in Sam Woj to Her Table.
Well, we're so excited to have you on. Honestly, I was just looking at some of the stuff that you've worked on. Like, it is... I don't know how you do it because I got zero artistic genes in my body. Like, I couldn't draw. Yeah, like draw stick figures about as good as I get with my kids' homework. So I'm going to need a class soon on how to be better in that space. So coming your way, just so you know, Sam.
Well, just come on, one step at a time,
Okay, you can come here. It's a little cold. Where are you at right now? Where are you based?
I'm in Emrun, Ontario. Near
Okay.
Ottawa, if it counts.
Okay. And are you from there originally?
No, I'm from Montreal, Quebec.
Okay. What brought you out to the new space?
Because technically I'm an art therapist also, so I'm artist and art therapist, so I give therapy, and I got my psychotherapy permit in Ontario, so I got to come practice here psychotherapy and work with people with that permit. So I kind of moved here for work that way and also build my art practice.
I love that. Okay, so dive into me about the art therapy stuff. What does that entail? Like, what is that for you?
So art therapy, so basically what I do is I give therapy. So it's like talk therapy, but I include art. So anybody who has trouble kind of talking or have problems like with mental health, I'll usually do one-on-one, and we kind of discuss their situations. And if it's like anxiety, depression, stressors, I have them draw it out to be like, what does the anxiety look like to you? Now there's a lot of externalization to kind of explore and kind of build tools to like help them, which is kind of fun.
That's so fantastic. Is that something you always wanted to do, or is it like new? It's kind of like you had a moment where like, I think I can do this, or did you always were you always artistic growing up?
So I'd say in high school I found out about art therapy, and then since then I was like, that was my goal, to become an art therapist. I was like, I'm gonna do it because my parents were librarians. They're like, look, we found a book. It's art and therapy. Like your two favorite things. I'm like, what? Like, it exists? Like, ever since then, I was like, I am figuring it out. I'm going to do a degree. I'm going to do psychology. I'm going to do art. I'm going to get everything done so I can become an art therapist.
So did you start out, like, were you super young when you started, like, drawing, or, like, what were you doing that made you kind of go, I probably should become an artist one day?
So the first time I'd say I ever did art was in, I think, grade 6 elementary. My sister's friend's mom wanted to do an after-school art program at her school. And my mom was like, hey, can you like go to it just so she at least has one student kind of showing up? And I was like, sure. Because all I did before was usually sports, because I played sports my whole life. So I only played sports. So I was like, okay, like, I'll go to it, like be like a body in the library. And I went to the library and I started making art. And I was like, this is so much fun. And I like literally feel like I caught the bug. And ever since then, I was like, I want to keep making and keep creating. So I like found ways to like draw and create and just enjoy it.
Wow. So you use sports as like the medium for you in art. And I think we talk a lot on this show about how sports and entertainment is constant. It isn't like the thread of everything that I think goes on in this world, whether you realize it or not. What inspired you to use sports as the medium in art for you?
So I'm somebody who played sports my whole life. I did skating, soccer. I tried gymnastics here, not for me, but it was fun. I did dancing, like I did everything. I tried a lot, and it was just weird because like I would go to, it's such a weird separation of when I'm going to school in art, because all my art friends never really watch sports. Then my whole family would watch sports. It's always on TV. So it was like a very much division of between the two. So like when I was in school, I couldn't really do sports painting because the teachers and nobody really understood that kind of realm of interest. And I always loved sports. And it was only after I finished my master's in art therapy that I was like, you know what? It's a pandemic. I'm stuck at home. I can't work out because I injured my ankle. And I'm like, I have a soccer ball lying around because I played soccer my whole life. And I was like, I'm just going to roll it on a canvas. And I joked that with my sister because I was with my sister. I was like, I'm just going to roll it on a canvas. I have a canvas lying around. My sister's like, yeah, like just roll it. And I was like, okay, so I'll do it. And then I roll it. I was like, this looks really cool. So then it was the Olympics coming up. And I was like, Steph, like, why don't I draw some of the Olympians that are abroad and don't have any family kind of there to support them? So if I create like kind of funny pictures using sports equipment of them playing that sport, like maybe I'll bring someone that smiled during these like tough times. She's like, yeah, do it. And I was like, okay. So I tried, and I honestly didn't know what to expect, but a lot of them liked it. A lot of them shared it. So I was like blown away by the reaction.
Wow.
Okay, I can't draw a stick figure. We've already talked about this. How do you take a sports equipment and use it as like the mechanism to make? I mean, I'm looking at the beautiful pictures behind you, and I'm literally sitting here trying to like figure it out in my brain of how this works, because I just, maybe I'm not high tech enough to understand, but I'm like, how it's so intricate and detailed, and a lot of the objects you're using are not that.
No. So I think that's what also kind of was fun in that aspect is I'm somebody who painted with paintbrushes my whole life. Like I knew how to make super detailed artworks, and that's what I was aimed to do. I always like to make everything perfect. So taking something that's not made to use as a paintbrush and forcing it to create shapes, but almost also letting myself be like, there's going to be nothing perfect about it. It's going to fill in some gaps that I fill, because I create pencil outlines. So it's like I have black and white images, and then I create spaces to fill it with paint. But I know in my mind, like whatever I do with the ball, it's never going to be perfect. So I can only just kind of have fun with the process and kind of hit it. So I think that's where that element comes in, is like, it can't be perfect. And half the time I don't even know what it's going to be looking like. So I'm just filling in my spaces and kind of enjoying it.
Wow.
I feel like that's the key to artwork. Yeah. Like you can't have a vision for it. You gotta like, it's like when you go to Target and they're like, what do you need? And you're like, I don't know, it will tell me. I feel like art is kind of like that a little bit, where you're like, I have an idea of what this should look like, but like some of the most beautiful masterpieces started out as something other than what they were supposed to. And I think that's for art. Like, how was there a moment in time, like for you, like what artwork were you like, I'm in love with this style of art and I want to create it? Or are you just kind of like open to a lot of different styles of art?
I'm really into kind of these portraits. I used to do them. The only thing I'd say compare that really got me maybe into creating athletes was during my undergrad. I'd go to Starbucks. They don't have it now, but you used to have a blank space on the cups. And every morning when I would go, I'd get like a small like mezzo cup, or I can't remember what they're called, like grandes and stuff. And I would draw portraits of celebrities on them. To the point of these Starbucks ladies would know me and would give me a few more cups so I could draw, and they would want to see the results. So like that's how I would kind of draw people in practice.
Cool. You just bring it. Like you're not looking at a photo of a celebrity, you're just doing it like off memory.
Well, from computers. I'd have it on a computer screen, and I would kind of draw it outlined, draw it and sketch it while I was like listening to classes or music while I waited for class to start, because I'd be 2 hours early. So I'd be like, oh, I can just draw some practice sketching of portraits, and I really liked it, and I was kind of having fun with it. So I think that we're creating and exploring portraiture was something I really wanted to do, because I was really bad at it. I was horrible at portraits. Like the one thing I couldn't do in art, I would always just do landscapes because horrible. And I was like, I need to become good.
Wow.
That's
like it.
That's wild. Who is okay? So take me to the Starbucks. So you're sitting there, and then you're drawing these people. Like, is it like for you? Like you talked about how you're into art therapy. Was that like a little bit of like therapeuticness for you, of like something you could control and something you could produce that like I look at art sometimes as it's space to be controlled because it's to your own design, right? And it's what you want to have it become. What made you decide to kind of like, just other than you were there early, start to kind of master that?
I honestly say like art is my escape. It's my one space to just be like let every emotion. And I'm somebody who's not the best with words. Like I try to find the right words and try to sound like somewhat intelligent. But I say art is kind of my way of communicating with the world. So when I'm making art, it's all my emotions and all my experiences. I want to embody that in the art. And that's how I kind of communicate with others and what I love with the art.
Well, I'm definitely a fan of your work. I was telling everyone over here in the studio, like, oh my gosh, did you see Sam was on the Kelsey Brothers podcast and they were showcasing your work? And I was like, that is so incredible. One, I want to hear how that happened. Take me through how you got the idea of like painting the Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce, how they ended up finding your work, and I guess since then, have there been like more fans, more people who have been seeing your work? Because that's amazing. Congrats. I love that. So good for you.
And are you going to the wedding? Like, we just want to know, like, are you on the short list for the Swiftie wedding? This is what we're at today.
I wish, even if you acknowledge me, I'd be like, that is still my, like, I'd say 20 seconds of fame of being like, oh my gosh, that person knows me. Like Kelsey, like my cousin, she's so funny. She's like, next time she's on, by the way, I saw a video, like, Kelsey knows you so about, I'm like seven, what's the bacon thing? 70
degrees of separation. 7 degrees of separation.
Yes. But she's like, I'm a 7 degrees, but now with like Taylor Swift in here because like you know Kelsey, and like I can tell people like you know what.
By the way, you just proved my point. Sports and entertainment intersects all facets of our life. We don't even know it.
Right.
Okay, so tell us, you went on the show. They had to have been amazing. They seem like amazing guys and just amazing humans. But like, how'd you get on the show? Like, how did this happen?
So my art was on the show. I didn't. Oh my gosh, I'd freak out if he even knew who I was. But it was
Shout
my
out
art
to them. She needs to be on the show. She'll draw.
Right.
Do a little Swiftie too. Yeah.
Right, with a microphone. Like,
Say less. I think you should put it out there into the world. Draw it. Ask, believe, receive. Go get it.
Get some Swifties on my side. You know, there's no. You know, it can only go up from there, right? How did it begin? So I painted them for the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl was going to happen, and I was like, oh, you know, like it's fun to have two brothers going to the Super Bowl against each other. And I like the mom, Mama Kelsey. I love her. She's just so much fun to watch online.
Oh yes.
And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna paint both of them. And this was the first time I was doing a dual painting with color as like jerseys. And I think I had a day before the Super Bowl was happening, so I was like, I gotta really finish this. So I ate a lot of chocolate. Chocolate is my secret to like getting paintings done in a very quick time. Chocolate.
Is it dark chocolate or milk chocolate? Take us all the way there so that we can support this.
Arrow, man. Arrow chocolates are like.
What is that?
Right.
Yeah, what is that?
Arrow?
Chocolate?
You don't know what Arrow is? Like AERO? Like it's a chocolate bar. Oh my gosh, you are missing out.
I feel like clearly we need to go find our lives and get to it.
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot believe you've never had an Arrow bar. Oh my goodness, those are so good.
Okay. On the list.
Like,
on the list.
You gotta live. You haven't lived till you have those chocolate bars.
I love chocolate. So good.
Chocolate M&Ms too. They're just. Anyways, I'm like obsessed with chocolate. It's like my one thing. That's why I have many Olympics. I would have like 3 paintings done because I just kept eating chocolate. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to eat
like that one. Wow.
But yeah, chocolate and caffeine, and I get paintings done. But I had to get that painting done for the Super Bowl, and I was like, oh, I'll post it, and I got it done. And it was like it kind of did well, but it was done so right at the time of the Super Bowl that nobody really saw it, and I was like, it's okay. But you know, like I had fun. People saw it. Some people saw it online. Like I'm proud of it. And then their podcast came out, I think, on Twitter, now X, I guess. One of their videos popped up showing both Kelsey brothers seeing artworks at fan art, and they put it around in their studio. And I jokingly wrote, I was like, what about mine? And I posted a video in it, and everyone started liking it in the comments. And I was like, oh wow, look, everybody's like liking it. And then next day I get dings of like, they're like, saw you on the podcast. I'm like, what podcast? And then I was like, oh, I'm like, they actually talked about my art.
Wow.
How did that make you feel? Like, that has to be like, for you, it's just, I mean, was that just a moment you were like, I've made it? Or were you like, I can't believe this is happening to me?
I still can't believe it. I was just like, they know that I exist. Like, an athlete knows that I exist, and they actually like what I did. Like, I'm still in shock that they knew me for more than 5 seconds. Like, I'm just, you know, and you watch the whole video, like, what? Like, I don't even know what to do with that. Like, I'm still in shock.
It's amazing.
That was wild. We could draw a stick figure and they'd be like, bye, Kate. Have a good day. No thanks. Okay, so I want to dive a little bit into this art therapy thing, because I think it's so fascinating. It's an outlet for you. It's a safe space for you. And I think now mental health is just constantly at the crux, right, of everything that we kind of talk about. And we talk a lot about physical health in sports, but mental health as well. And for you, how has kind of what you've grown through in your life and challenges you've had helped you find a space to inspire and help others? Because it's very selfless.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a lot. I find surprisingly, art therapy clients that I've had, they go through a lot. Like, they've been through a lot, and then they come here to kind of explore it and express it as a way, because sometimes words, especially with trauma, can be hard to say out loud and vocally express. So sometimes visually creating it helps people get validated, because like, this is what I feel. Like, I can't put it into words, but this is what it looks like. And it's like, that's how a kind of a way to externalize and explore it. And I find for a lot of people with emotions, when we I tell a lot of people, because I use a lot of narrative in my therapies, like a narrative therapy, where we externalize a lot of the anxiety. It's not like you aren't the anxiety, but you experience anxiety. So what is the anxiety telling you right now? Like, why is it appearing in these moments? So it's like separating yourself from the emotion to better understand it, and how it's impacting you is how I kind of look at it.
It's so incredible.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's so incredible, because I think you've gone through so much change and growth and adversity in your life, right? Yeah. And now you're able to pay that forward. Growing up for you, what challenges, obviously you said you played sports and things like that. What challenges did you face growing up, as a girl in sports, and obviously, through the challenges you went through physically and emotionally?
Yeah, I'd say, honestly, surprisingly, sports was kind of my saving grace, I'd say, growing up, because I have 2 fingers. Well, technically, it's 1 finger. These are toes that were like transplanted. So this is from the right foot, and this is from the left foot that they kind of swapped and put on my hands. So shout out to Boston, who put it on. I was in Boston, then it would cut the surgery.
And what for you? So what, like, break it down for us, because those guests that are listening and not watching, kind of break down like what you've kind of gone through, what your disability has given you an opportunity to kind of the platform that you're on, but then also what challenges and struggles do you have? Because people can see us, but I want to make sure they can hear, and connect with you. So break that down for them.
Yeah. So I'd say growing up, I'm also very fortunate. I had a family who was like, you could do anything. Like, they didn't really question or do a lot of stuff for me. They're like, let's find a way for you to do it. Like, for you to be adaptable and find you to be kind of in charge of yourself, and like to not just give up. So I think I was very lucky to have that kind of mentality around me. And also having sports, in the sense that it's very easy to judge, I find, somebody with a disability. Because then you look different, and it's like, I get it. I look different, and you don't know with this differences what I could do. So it's very like, I get it. It's like society. We're used to people with 5 fingers. I've never seen anybody besides my sister and I to have 2 fingers. So like, I kind of get it. You're like, wait, what? So the shock. Did I have bad interaction? Yes. Did I have people who were like scared of touching my hands? Yes. Like, you get bad experiences. But I try to focus on all the good people that I had around me, and the people that supported me, and kind of like, especially for me with soccer, like I played that, and it was a space where I could just be judged for how I play. Right. So like how I can play and how I can play with others. So I was lucky enough, and I'm fortunate with my disability, that I could still play with able-bodied individuals and compete. I was ironically a goalie, which really doesn't make sense because I'm missing fingers.
Yeah.
It's like, you'd be
Yeah.
like, why?
I was thinking
Why
like
would you go goalie?
midfield.
Right? Like midfield goal, like
Yeah.
defense something would be like,
Yeah.
but no, I went actually more times in goalie than defense. I did play defense for a little bit, but I find it was a good way to be liked by it, like to be accepted by others, that way that I find people with 5 fingers are already accepted. And I find at the same time, like, there were negative reactions, because sometimes the only problem with the difference between playing a player and a goalie is when you're playing, I can't hide my hands, because like with shoes, like I don't have feet, like I don't have any toes, so my feet stop right before the toes. Like I'm wearing shoes so nobody sees. But as a goalie, when I have the gloves that are 5 fingers and my shoes are covered, nobody sees anything. So when, I don't know if you ever played soccer, but usually at the end you go and shake everyone's hand and you go in a row.
Yeah.
So like as a goalie, I would take my gloves off, and I know there'd be a few times where people would just lift, like remove their hands and be like, "What?" You know, like, so like those moments were hard. I think in art, in sports, of having those interactions and being like, "Oh yeah, like people don't know how to like shake my hand, or scared to shake my hand, so I move on." And you're like, "I just played you." You know, you're like, "I just competed against you. There's nothing scary." So I think those moments are hard with physical disabilities, to have people be like, just don't like to like either talk or something, you know, like to not, I don't even know what the word is that I'm looking for, but like to not make me feel other. Yeah,
I feel like that is incredible, and I just think that is such a testament to you and who you are. Like we go through this challenge and like throughout your whole entire life and overcome it, and like people are like that are listening or watching that have disabilities, what would you say to them? Because I feel like you already feel like you're at a disadvantage, and for you to keep on going and keep on powering through is just so incredible. So what would you say to those people who look up to you and who also maybe want to be an artist or play soccer or whatever it is?
I find, I'd say, based on my experience, because I don't know if I'm going to say this even well, but like I've always avoided those interactions, because I'm always like, okay, I can put my hands in my pocket. I can put my hands in my sweaters. I loved hoodies because they would have pockets so I can put it in, you know, but the more I actively avoid, or the more I try to hide, it's more of a disadvantage for me than them, because I'm not living my true authentic self and engaging with people who want to engage with me. And there will be negatives. There are going to be people that are going to be crappy. There's going to be bad interactions, but you have to find the people that are willing to stick with you and talk with you. And I think disability is hard because some people don't know how to say things, or how to talk with people, or who actually wants to talk about disabilities, because everybody has a different relationship with their disability. Me, I was born with it, so I'm like, it's been my whole life. Like, there's no trauma.
Like, you don't know any different, right?
Like there's no trauma story of like, oh, like, you know, alligator in my hand. You know, like, I don't know. like there's no like horrible story. So like for me, I'm just like, I don't mind talking about it, and I think that's important, is for lessening the ignorance, and for anybody who's struggling, it's to be like, there are good people out there, and it might be hard to find, but there are a lot of supportive people, and to be yourself. And I think that was the hardest lesson I've learned my whole life, is you really just can't judge what other people like. People will stare, people will comment, but if you keep hiding because of them, then you're not living your truth and what your potential could be.
I think that's amazing. It's funny, even with like my kids, I try, and I think it starts like at the micro level of children, right? Where if they don't know, and then they get, and no one knows how to talk about anything, and it becomes this like anxiety for them because they avoid people, and then they don't, you're hurting someone's feelings and you don't want to hurt them, and they don't know how to process things. And I think it's like that micro level of like human connectivity, right? Of like, we're all put on this earth for different reasons. And everybody looks different. Not one person looks the same. And that's by design. And so I always, it's weird. Like for my kids, I always encourage them. And it's something I work really hard with them, is ask in a ways that it allows someone to share. Because while you might, like Sam, you're like, I was born like this, I don't know any different, right? It gives you an opportunity to share your experience with someone else that might impact them later down the road, right? Like who knows what life has for them. And I think for like women in sports, like what you're saying is like live in your authentic self, which is what we say on the show. Every single episode is honestly, like you are meant to be who you are. Like you were created one of one. And so to hear you say that you struggled with that both externally and internally, right? Like mentally and physically. It is something we all go through. And I think watching and seeing what you've been able to accomplish, not only through art, but through your ability to inspire others through art. Like, it is not through your personal story. It's through your connectivity to another human being on a level that you can relate to. So, okay, who's your favorite person to draw? I need to know this.
I mean, as a Canadian,
And it should be me and Megan. It should be me and Megan. Like, honestly, let's just say it should just be me and Megan. So if it took you that long, okay, fine. Fine, Sam.
I'm like Megan Rapinoe. I still remember.
So like technically I painted her, but like I'm Canadian, so we have a rival.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Sinclair.
US and Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Megan Rapinoe. Good.
Now, who is somebody that for you, you know, through sport, right? Because you grew up playing sport, you know, you specialize in drawing sport portraits and just action shots in sports, but also using the equipment's a good word to say to do it. What made you like, is there a challenge? Is it because it's challenging for you and you can complete it? Is it what kind of like, I want to see myself do this? Do you ever have a moment where you're like, damn, I just did that? Like that was me. So for all those people that didn't want to shake my hand and felt a kind of way when they saw me on the soccer field, look at me now. Like, yes. Do you have those moments?
Oh yeah. There are certain moments where
I love it.
Yeah. Like I got here, like after everything, after all the questioning, after like all of it, and just the trials and tribulations, like so much challenge sometimes, and so much questioning. And even now, I'm always questioning, like, do I even continue? Like, is it worth it? But sometimes when you get to moments, you're like, yes, I'm so glad I continued. It feels so good.
What are some challenges you face in the art world through sport, right? I think some of it, I want to know, and I want our viewers to listen and hear, like, for you as an artist, what are the challenges you face?
I find it's honestly just the medium I do. I have a few friends that do art and are trying to make a name for themselves, and I find my approach, it's so difficult in the art world to use this approach, because in my master's at least, when I was in university, a lot of them want to make art for like, do art for yourself in the sense of like not for social media or posts or like to get it out there, do it for like how you feel, and it could be landscape. And I'm like, great. And that's where a lot of the galleries are aimed, is kind of a very structured style, or at least what I perceive. So I find it hard in the way of marrying the sports with galleries or art world and getting it kind of together. I find is really hard, because I mean, all the time in school I didn't see many sports artists that did sports that I could Google and be like, we're going to talk about this in class today. So I think
it's probably a lot of like photography, right? Like I feel like sport is a lot of like still photography and things like that. It's because it's such a fast-paced thing that unless it's a captured moment in time, you know what I mean? It's hard to like, I am not an artist. Like I cannot even try to become one. I'm telling you, I'm here with my little Sharpie highlighter. Like this is it. Okay. Well, when we get to class and you're like, okay, Kate and Megan, y'all are fired. You don't get to play in the sandbox in the art world anymore. Does it inspire or push you to make sure diversity and inclusion in sports, you know, in the art world continues to be a part of the conversation? Because we talk a lot about diversity and inclusion in sports from like the athletic ability space. But for you, does it come top of mind, or is it something that pushes you when you do therapy with someone else that might have a disability, that you're now championing for them and pushing them the way you didn't have someone for you because you didn't know?
Yeah, I think the first time I kind of realized how important it is to have diversity, or to have kind of individuals with different abilities, with whether it be in sports or kind of in the media, I think was the actual Paralympics. When it first came out and I painted a Paralympian, I was like, the first time I knew it was going to be on TV, that they were airing Paralympics, I was like, I almost started crying. I think my sister said she teared up, because we were just like, wow, like we actually get to see it on air, and other people are going to watch it like on TV. It's getting there. It's like actually showing possibilities, and it gives us hope for the generation that are younger. Because for me, when I was younger, like I didn't see many disabled sports on TV. Like, I didn't even know how to get into sports with a disability. I still don't even know what I would qualify as. I tried Googling just to be like, what would I fit, and found like Claudia is not untrained or anything, but I don't even know what I would fit. But it's just the idea of people with disabilities to be like, I can actually see it on TV. And that gave me like, man, if I can do art. And I think that's why one of the premises when I first started making videos is I do a lot of my videos where I don't have socks on or shoes, and I show my hands because I want to show like you can make art and use your body to your, it can be an advantage. Like, I say my fingers were meant for sports equipment because I say like 5 fingers can get in the way. So I wear prosthetics going up the stairs. And I don't get how people do it with toes. My feet just like fit perfectly in stairs. So I was like, your feet, guys. So I'm like, I don't get it. But sorry, I'm really bad jokes. But I say like my hand fits, and it can fit in spaces where I'd be like, oh, well, there'd be knuckles here and be blocking like shots of me videotaping. So in some ways, I find it like advantageous that way, and to be like,
No,
use it and create.
It was so incredible. And I guess through your work, if it's, through sports, or if it's just generic paintings that you're creating, do you have any like messages that you're trying to send while you're making your art, or you're trying to like show other people, or like maybe something that you emotionally put into your work? Kind of go over that, like what kind of emotions you're going through while you're putting your stuff, and what you can kind of show to the rest of the world as well.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of what you said. Like, I find it's a combination of me being like, I really want that authentic feeling in my paintings of those moments that I capture in the pictures are like the joy or the feeling of like dunking a basketball or hitting, like catching a football or kicking a soccer ball. Like, I really try to embody those feelings when I'm throwing it, because I know some of those moments when I've played some of those sports. Not all of them, because I'm just not good. But but I try to embody like the imagined experience of like, yes, I caught it in that joy. Like, there's not, I don't know, like when you play it, like there's not much you can compare to that feeling of getting a goal or a point, and you're it's just in that moment, you're like, yes. And it's so hard to capture it, and I try to capture that. And when I'm painting, I want to be like, I see that feeling you experience when you play these sports, and I know what you're experiencing, whether you be watching it or playing it. Like, this painting is including that in every mark that I make in this process.
It's incredible.
So I kind of try to show that.
Wow, that's incredible. And I love that you have a wide range of athletes too that I've seen, like we said, Megan Rapinoe, the Kelsey brothers. I think is that Serena in the background. So you don't have any, is that Serena in the background? Yeah.
Coco Golf, I think it's.
Oh, nice. So do you ever,
Coco,
yeah. So you don't actually, maybe you haven't played football before. So how do you channel then, like athletes that play in the NFL or athletes that, play tennis, something that you didn't do? And how do you pick those artists? Are you just, I think that's just so cool that you have a wide range.
Yeah, like for those sports, I just try to imagine. For football, I'm like, I don't even know how people hold up football. Like, I literally put my hand on it. I'm like, my hand barely fits those lines.
I can't either. They're so big.
It's just so big.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, sometimes like behind the scenes, I'm like throwing the ball in my hands, and I'm like, okay, they're like jumping on the side, or like like I'm trying to like imagine, like, what do you feel, or like, when people are going through when they play with this ball. So that's how I try to imagine it. Playing around like a child in this room and not make too many messes.
How long does it usually take to do? How long, like if you look at Coco's, like how long did that take you to do? Was it days, weeks, hours? How long did usually I mean, I'm sure it might vary too, depending upon what you have going on, but like how long does it take you to complete a portrait?
Like the Coco was 6-7 hours. This one I did out of college, so I had an hour and a half, I think, to complete it. The college was like, can you come and paint? It was like 90 minutes, I think I had to do that one in person and in cafeteria. They're like, can you just show what you can do? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I was at the college in Champlain. So shout out to Champlain. But they let me paint in their cafeteria and paint while people were eating and people were walking by, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. So that one was.
Do you get nervous? Were you like nervous when you had to do it in front of other people? Because it seems like a lot of your art is done like privately. So when you do it publicly, are you nervous?
Oh man, the first time I did it, that was like so stressful because I was like, yo, if I mess up, I mess up. Like everybody's gonna see. Like I can't just like go pick up another canvas and be like, I just spent like 12 hours maybe on a painting, but nobody's gonna see. So like I can throw it out or cover it, you know? Like that is also what something was my first live art was a soccer championship. And I was like, I mean, thankfully it rained, so I was in a tent where I could hide some parts. So it was like slow transition to showing people. But oh my goodness, it is stressful. Especially I did Toronto Maple Leafs live during a game.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm in front of people and they're recording me and they're like putting it on the Jumbotron. If I do a bad job, fans are gonna definitely tell me. Like I definitely know they're not gonna not hold their breath. Like I can tell. So it's definitely I find a stressor of being like, oh, like can I do it? But you just gotta.
Do you like
yourself.
it? Do you like it? Are you like, okay, I'm here for this? Or are you like, no, I like the privacy of my own home to like relax and not be intense? Okay, you like it?
It's a fun thrill. Originally, I absolutely hated it. I was like, this is just so much stress. But honestly, the more I do it, it's the funner it is because it's more of a challenge. I mean, the last one I did for OKC was extremely 8 feet by 8 feet, and I had to finish them both in person. Yeah, and in person, like on a street where people were just walking all day. And I was like, I had to finish it live, 2 paintings before the game started. And I was like, this is stressful. That level of stress, I don't know if I want to do again 2 paintings at the same time right before a game because I had like 4 hours.
Overachiever. Sam, you're just trying to be an overachiever. Come on, 2 paintings at one time. Me and Megan can barely put 2 stick figures holding hands together and 2 paintings at one time. Live. I mean, remind me never to go up against Sam. Okay, Megan, like if she's up, we're out. I will remind you.
We should. Two of you versus me and see who finishes it first and see the result.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay. How much time you got, Sam? Like we're gonna need to have like this special just started, pre-K version of what we're doing. Yeah.
Now we can do it though.
Yeah. It's like I'm being like, okay.
Sailors. No. Tell you too. I saw those 2 paintings that you did out for the OKC players, and those were incredible. I think that is so special. Going forward, like what's your goal? What's the 5-year plan? Like, do you want to work maybe directly with teams or like maybe a whole entire league? What's kind of like the end goal for at least the next 5 years?
Like my goal would honestly, I have a few teams I really hope to work for. One of my goals is to like go somewhere warm, to travel somewhere warm to paint live. So I'm not in the cold because all my live paintings have been cold areas. So like I want to go warm. Would be my 5-year plan is to like visit places outside of cold weather and paint live. But I just want to work with more teams and do more work live or at least raise money for foundations with teams so that we can get money that goes to places that are well. Like that would be my goal. 5-year plan is to work with teams, raise money, and kind of make it more of a living would be my dream goal, ultimately.
Yeah. That's so fantastic. Yeah. Honestly, I love when people not fall into it, but create a space. And I feel like you've created a space for yourself. Yeah. And like just, again, it's when you look at women in sports, it's like all facets of life. And here you are, drawing and painting portraits of some of the most iconic sports figures, but at the same time you're doing it from a place of inspiration of when you think you're having a bad day or my painting isn't good enough, like look at you just thriving in everything that you have going on. Honestly, it's fascinating to me. What for you, you said you have a sister, are you guys really close? Does she paint too? Or is it like an art? Is it like an art? You're just like a whole artistic family, and Megan and I are literally just out and about. And she's stacking the deck, Megan. She's like, oh yeah, I'll just bring my sister, be mother like artist. I mean, you're like, do you have a pencil and an eraser? Because that's what we need is an eraser.
That's actually the funny part. So like nobody else is like artistic in my family. So everybody's like, we just got a gene. Like we don't know if it's recessive. It's so far away because nobody's artistic. But my sister's staff, there was one time we went to like a convention and I had to come home and I had to finish a painting for school. That was the next day. So I was up till about 4 a.m. and I had to wake up at 6 a.m. to go to school. So I had like 2 hours of sleep that night, which was horrible. But she was trying to help me get a bit more sleep. So she's like, I'll come and help you. I was like, okay, color the boxes. And so she colored it, but I didn't like how she colored it, so I went over it. And she's like, what did I do then? What was the point? What was the point of me helping you? So she's held that against me forever. She's like, I'm not helping you because whatever I do, you're just going to paint over. So
I feel like that's a
attitude.
sister thing. My sister and I are that way too, where it's like, okay, like I tried. She's very analytical. She's actually very creative, but she's also very analytical. So I don't know how she got both genes. I just got the analytical gene. The color in the boxes is like, oh, do we need all those crayons? It's a lot. That's just a lot. No. Yeah. What are you, for you, as you know, you look at a younger version of yourself, you know, what would you tell, knowing what you know in life now and what you've experienced? What would you say to the younger her?
I'd say to not be afraid to try things, because I find fear really dictated a lot of part of my life from doing anything. I mean, I would go to exhibitions. Like my first exhibition in college, at the end of the year, I remember like hiding in the staircase because I didn't want to talk to anybody out of fear. And I feel like fear was really the voice of anything and how I did things. And I find to tell myself, just try, and just you never know what can happen. And I think that's my attitude that I've decided to go ever since I started this, is like, just try, you never know. Because fear was so strong. Like just be yourself, just do things. And if you fail, you learn. You learn through failure. You gain knowledge through failure. Failure isn't always bad. And I think that would be something I tell myself.
I think that's too, that like, even, you know, I have to tell myself, I'm sure Kate has to tell herself that too. Like, it's such a normal thing that people, I feel like, hold themselves back from like accomplishing big things. Yeah. So I think that's truly incredible. I also was very curious. You talked about when you create all your art and everything. I mean, your Coco one took 6 hours, or was it 6 or 9 hours? One of those?
I think it was 6.
6 hours?
It was so long ago,
just a mere 6 hours. I mean, you know, just some light work over there. Meanwhile, Megan and I are like 6 days.
Like, really long. But do you listen to music? Are you listening to podcasts? Does it have to be silent? Like, what are you doing to get into that flow and getting ready to create those paintings?
It very much depends on my mood. Like, if I'm more relaxed, I love podcasts because then I can just listen and I feel like somebody's in the space with me and I'm not so lonely in this like little room. Yeah. If I need like a pick me up, I listen to a lot of musicals. So my Spotify is always just a certain musical playlist. And then I have like rap and like old school, like 01s, 2001s, 2000s, like old school music that I'm like, I need to get in a phase, like just get out of my head, that I'll listen to that kind of playlist. It really depends on the mood.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So fantastic. I mean, honestly, I think you should have a class if you take it. Megan and I are signing up, so please, message us so that we can sign up.
Help us.
How do you learn how to listen tomorrow? Because you're kind of far away, so we're going to need a little bit more than a day. But I do think
it's online.
Oh gosh, listen, I'm going to need some in-person work. Okay, the remote is not for my art skills.
And we are. Come to us. Like, we're in LA and we're in Phoenix. You know,
yeah, it's warm.
It's warm.
Weather. It's warm.
If I ever get to work with LA Kings, I will come, and then you're gonna have to do a lesson, and we're gonna do a 101. If I ever get a chance,
we're in there. We'll be your assistants. We might be the worst ones ever, but we will be there to be the.
I will make a lesson that you get to keep it. I'm gonna make a lesson where you get to make your own art, and now you're gonna be able to be like, look, I made this with a basketball. You know?
Yes. I'm so here for it. Do you get to work with like young kids, or are you really for your therapy sessions? Is it like millennials, teenagers, older people, or does it kind of like a wide range?
Wide range, everything. Like, I mean, online, I refuse to go anywhere younger than 8. Like, I've done 8 online and I don't like it. I've done in person for 8 and 4 years old, but online, over 8 years old and any age. Like,
so amazing. I honestly cannot wait to see what else you do. I'm actually, Megan, I'm kind of scared that I threw out there for her to, make our portraits, because like, we're going to, I did. So can we just get a little uplight, a little, soft filter and, all the good stuff, make us look as beautiful as possible and as young as possible.
Gorgeous. Now, what equipment would I do if I painted you?
You would have to use basketball for me because I'm an NBA. So I would be basketball. Megan's football. So you would have to use basketball and football.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the dual.
That would be cool.
Challenge on.
I'm excited. It's exciting. So like one sheet each, and you guys have one football, one basketball, and you can see what it looks like.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I'm like, wow, please do that so I can just be like drilling.
I know. And then Megan and I can arm wrestle. We'll mud wrestle over who gets to take it home. It can stay at your house half the year, and I'll keep it at my house the other half.
You know,
we can have to stay on set.
The studio.
Yes. We have a shared home. Megan and I have a shared home together in studio. You know, on set. We have a shared home. So we'll leave it in our shared home together, Megan. Max can keep it. Our producer, Max.
You just can't steal it and just take it away. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. No. Well, look, I am so proud of you. You are so inspiring to me as a woman, but also just as a human being. Because watching people thrive and live their best life to become their best self is what I am here for every single day. And you are doing that, but you're changing other people's lives while you're living your best life. So it is possible. Like people always say, how do you give more? How do you be more? And the truer you are to yourself, the more you can give to others. And hearing your story and sharing it, but also seeing how sports and art have created a space for you to thrive is one of the most magical things I've heard. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Honestly, it's I still can't believe it, like how welcoming the fan bases are. I still can't get over that. Like I'm so forever grateful to the fans of like sports and how accepting they are of my art and representation of it. It just means a lot.
I love it. Well, stay warm. Do not get the cold front when it comes in, okay? Stay warm. Don't eat too much chocolate now that I know your secret. So, you know. If we need to try AERO, right?
AERO, yeah.
Chocolate bar. Isn't that like, see, I hear AERO and I think of like, oh, no, it's Airy. I think of like American Eagle. Like some designer has a thing like that. Right. Megan laughed at me.
I'm question, I feel like it's a bar. It's not a chocolate bar. I'm like, I'm not like you have to have seen this picture. One sec. Chocolate.
I am curious. I love chocolate, so I'm genuinely very interested.
Look at this. This picture.
See, Megan, it's one more thing. No, never.
You've never had that?
No, I've seen it, but I've never tried it before.
Well, you better get on it because she's the #1 fan over there, and for Miss Chocolate Cutie Pants over here, she needs to get on it.
It'll be changing your world. You will not want to stop eating them. I'm warning you. They are.
They last.
No.
Now on our next set, Sam, that's what you're going to see. It's just going to be like Celsius, my Starbucks, and AERs. That's it. It's just guests come in and you only get one of those 3 things. That's it. Nothing else. We don't have water.
Keep going to the arrows. No water, just arrow chocolate.
I love it. Well, keep being amazing. Keep doing great things. Like honestly, I'm proud of you. I can't wait to see what's next. Please, when you do your next portrait, I want to see. Send us a link. Let us see. I want to watch. I want to have my kids watch. But I want to see you get exactly where you're supposed to be, which is everywhere in this world you deserve to be.
Thank you so much, and I can't wait for you guys to see all my artworks of you guys. And you have to tell me if your kids recognize you, how long it takes for them to recognize you.
Oh my gosh. Scary town. My son gets off a restriction, I'll let him look. You know, he's going to be on there for a while.
Yeah.
You got time. You got time. But thank you so much for joining us. We loved having you on here today.
Thank you for having me. It means a lot.
Megan, every time we do this show, I literally walk away. My heart is full. I am so inspired. And just meeting amazing people has been what has been so special for me about Her Table. Sam, rockstar. I mean, I literally signed me up for her class in just positivity and life and inspiration. Seeing how she has overcome the challenges and obstacles she's faced in her life, but paying it forward to other people through art therapy. I mean, that is, I think we all need to strive a little bit more at being better than we currently are for someone else. And she's the epitome of that. That's so fantastic.
Oh, so incredible. Like, she has such an incredible story. And then on top of that, you see her work and you're like, oh my gosh, not only is she like creating a portrait of, Coco or whatever, but she's also doing it with that equipment. Like, imagine like using a football to paint Travis Kelce. Like, it's so incredible what she does. And I love that she has such a unique approach to her work, to life. And it's just such an inspiration to, I feel like, so many people out there, both men and women.
But I think it's amazing too of how, like, honestly, she's taking a basketball and she's doing live portraits. Like, I can barely draw in front of like you on set, let alone live an 8x8 foot, live thing that she needs to paint. And she's not painting it with paintbrushes. She's painting it with like the equipment of the sport. So like the tennis ball, the football, the basketball. Those are not forgiving things. Like, that is, if you mess that up, it's going to be hard to fix it. And she kind of embraces the mess up. And I think that's what's, hearing her say that it's never going to be perfect and she stopped trying to be perfect, I think was also a testament to herself when she talked a little bit about how when she was growing up, kids really didn't know how to talk to her or approach her. And it made her uncomfortable. And then she kind of fell into her own through art of, I am not perfect. I am perfectly imperfect. And I think that's really magical to watch her showcase that through her art and embrace that in its entirety.
Yeah, and I love how, she spoke about in the past, she would, put her hands in her pockets or whatever in her hood just because she didn't want other people to see her. But that was only hurting herself. And I think that speaks to every single person because, people have insecurities and they put themselves, talk to themselves down like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. But for her to just like, break out of that and do such incredible things, make it on the Kelsey Brother podcast and like what's to come, I have no idea. Like, I'm so excited to see what she does next.
I know. I kind of want to see the live painting. I feel like it's a masterclass in itself, but it is really unique how art, sport is like an art, right? It is a craft. And while she loves doing sports paintings because she played sports growing up, watching her be able to take something she loved when she was younger and turn it into something that's inspiring later in life, but not allowing it to stop her. It's really just she's embraced the challenges that came with it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm here for it, girl. I am here for it. She was fantastic. All the way from Canada. She needs to come see us when it's warm down here in the States because it's a little cold in Canada, but loved having her on the show today.
We loved having Sam on the show. Make sure to like, comment, and share this with your friends. And let us know who you'd like to see on Her Table podcast next. And we'll see you guys next time.